Hi, welcome to the small shed. This Saturday we're working like the clappers in here. See you in a minute. Right, now a clapper is a piece of wood used by tailors and dressmakers and quilters for pressing down seams after they've been ironed. And normally it's a piece of wood that's got a bit of weight behind it. My wife wanted something that was square, roughly I think about 150mm square, with a handle on it that you can press down. So I'm going to find a bit of oak. I've got the piece of oak that I'm going to use for a picture frame in a different video. Just going to cut the end off it. Because I've got about 200mm square spare at the end, 180mm. That will give me a piece that's 150mm square because there's a big rebate on the bottom of this. So I'm going to make that with that one, but there's also another version of this which is a flat piece of wood like that with a pair of grooves down either side for your fingers to go in, smaller than this. But again, you do your ironing and then you push that down on it and it absorbs the steam and gives a bit of weight and presses the seam down. This wants to be about 250mm by 40 by 70 wide, and then there'll be a couple of grooves machined out on either side for your fingers to hold it, and I'll just round the ends off. It won't have any wood treatment on it because it's going to be used on material. It's just there to provide that iron, then press down, and it gives the flattening on the seams. So we're going to take this down and get it cut down first, and then I'll mark it out for rounding off the ends, sanding them, run a router around the corners with a round over bit, and put some grooves down either side with a sort of a ball end type router bit to make it easy to handle. I want it probably a bit smaller than normal. It should be 3 inches, but I think I'm coming down to 70mm, I mean, or maybe even less, I don't know, because my wife has small hands and therefore hasn't got the sort of span that I've got. We'll see when we get it cut down to size as to whether it's comfortable before I proceed too far with it. First thing to do is just get the blank cut out, I think, and we'll go on from there. I've come back from the shed with a kit of parts. I've just cut this base down a bit. My wife decided that it was a little bit too big and a bit too heavy, so I've just taken that much off it effectively, and taking it down to a smaller size. I've turned a little handle up to screw it through. I've just got to put this on the router table, just got to clear the router table to put the grooves in, but that's now ready for final sanding. All this is now finished sanded, so really all I've got to do now is to put the screw in. I've got a counterbore hole so that the screw is lower than or higher than the bottom of the clapper itself, so it won't have a problem. And then we're just going to screw that on at the moment. We're not sure about the height of the handle, so I've made it long at it, and then if so that at the moment you can use it like you'd stamp with a rubber stamp or something like that. If she wants to just go to like a small knob like that, I can turn it down a little bit shorter later on, but I can't add it back on. Same principle as when I started with it as a larger size. If I'd started with that size and it wasn't big enough, I couldn't really add that on quite so easily. So that's that one done. I'm not going to put any finish on, as I said, because it'll likely impact upon the actual quilting itself. We'll just get this one onto the router table now. I've got the table set up for the curved bit to take that hollow out. I've measured from the points where I want it to stop to the end of the clapper, and that from there to there is 195mm. So I've measured 195mm from that face of the cutter to there, and from that face to there, so that should give me something that will go correctly along to the right sort of spacing. And what I've got to do now is actually lower that down onto the bit as I start to cut, and then run it to there, and then stop the machine and then lift it off. So it's slightly hairy. I've got to be a bit careful with it, and there is a risk if you get this moving around that you'll get a wavy groove, so I've got to try and keep it as clamped tight to that fence as I can. Make sure the fence is down, and we'll have a go. So that's not perfect, but it's got me the groove. That's, you've got to get these lengths exactly right, or you start to get one side slightly longer than the other, but we're pretty much there. It's going to need a little bit of hand sanding to get that out there, because there's like two widths of router groove gone on, and there's a little bit of work to do on it, a bit of burning to get sorted out. And I'm just going to soften these edges around the top of it, because again it'll just catch your hands. But we've got the main body of the groove done. I'm just going to tidy this up and then run a very light bit of sandpaper around there. But I think that's pretty much ready to start sanding now. Right, well that's it done. It feels nice in the hand now, and it's got the grips that I wanted in the sides. I've sanded it to 320 with the random orbital, and I've just taken it to 400 with hand sanding afterwards. Not much point in taking it much beyond 300 anyway really, but because this has got to be used with fabric, I want to make sure that there's absolutely no chance of it catching on anything. So I've cleaned all that up. I ended up using gouges from the lathe to get the curved ends sorted out with regard to the burning from the bit. Should have had a new bit really, but I was using what I've got. But that's it now. That's finished that one as well. So that's the two clappers done in pretty much a morning. So hopefully that'll get me a few more brownie points with the domestic authorities. Sue's going to go off now and try them out and see whether she wants the handle shortening on the first one or not, but hopefully they'll be of use to her. And as I say, we've got ourselves a few more hours in the shed that we probably would have had to have been doing some housework. So hope the video was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing something different in the shed. I'll see you then. Bye.